On Friday, the Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics faced off for the fourth and final time this regular season in what was arguably the best game of this entire season. But what made it a classic game wasn't just that it was a battle of 1 versus 2, it was a potential playoff preview defined by matchup hunting and incredible shot making by some of the league's best players and offenses. The Celtics started this game absolutely on fire from downtown. Jaylen Brown immediately attacks Evan Mobley on the first possession of the game and gets the party started with a step-back 3. The Celtics are a team that love to attack favorable matchups on offense, so just a couple minutes later, Jason Tatum takes his turn going at Mobley and knocks down his signature sidestep 3. And if anything, this shot by Tatum was a signal for how this game was going to go. Mobley is a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, and the Celtics have already gone after him twice in the first 2 minutes. The C's kept their foot on the gas, getting quality looks in transition, ballooning to a 22-point first quarter lead before Kenny Atkinson called his second timeout of the quarter. The Celtics don't run a very complex offense. They simply look for the weak link on the other team, in this case Darius Garland, and attack him every time. Tatum lulls Darius to sleep before knocking down his first of many mid-range jumpers. The next play down, Tatum tells Hauser to clear out when he sees he has Darius Garland on him again, and it's the same story. He crosses him over and is able to get in the paint for free throws. So if you're keeping track, that's already 5 ISOs by both Tatum and Brown, and we're only in the first quarter. A few possessions later, Brown decides to get in on the action and goes after Sam Merrill, who was in for Darius Garland, and it's the same story. Little defensive resistance and a floater in the paint. But the Cavs were able to stay in this game because they have players that can hunt mismatches themselves. We'll get to 45 in a minute, but a big reason the Cavs survived this early Boston avalanche was because their bench had 33 points to Boston's 6. Ty Jerome and the Cavs were constantly looking for Luke Kornet and or Sam Hauser to attack on a switch. Jerome gets the switch on Kornet here. He notices all the space that he's given and drains a deep 3. But it's hard to stop a team like the Celtics when their best player is having his way with your team's best defender. Tatum goes at Mobley again here, this time lowering the shoulder before finishing through contact with a reverse layup for an and one. And for good measure here, JT goes after Mobley one more time to end the quarter with a one-legged step back midi to bring him up to 18 points and the Celtics lead to 12. So, in the second quarter, the Cavs threw in a wrinkle, going zone so the Celtics could not attack any specific player on defense. This move slowed down the Celtics' attack and took them out of their earlier rhythm. The C's run a high ball screen to attack Merrill, but that doesn't work against the zone, so the ball ends up in Kornet's hands against Mobley, which is exactly what the Cavs want, and the entire possession is a disaster for Boston. Here's another play. Dean Wade creeps up from the corner, pressuring Tatum to give up the ball to Horford. The moment he puts the ball on the floor, Merrill swoops in and pokes the ball from behind. This was a huge reason why the Celtics shooting numbers regressed mightily after the first quarter and why the Cavs mounted a comeback. Another big reason is because of these second chance opportunities they were able to create. Al Horford is worried about Mobley and Kornet has to provide help defense to Donovan Mitchell, which allows for Dean Wade to crash from the corner for a putback. After the Cavs cut the lead to single digits, they went back to man-to-man, and the Celtics went back to matchup hunting. This time, Tatum goes after Jared Allen, and watch how he lowers the shoulder here to create space for his layup. According to the play-by-play tracking, Tatum is 3rd in the league in isolations per game while shooting 1.06 points per possession on those plays, putting him on par with leading scorer Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in this department. After 2 straight Tatum ISOs, he goes after Jared Allen again, and you know you're in your rhythm when you bank in a sidestep 3. I mean, this is an ISO scoring mastery. Meanwhile, for the Cavs, it was Donovan Mitchell who posed serious problems for the Boston defense. He looks to attack Hauser like they did earlier in the game, but the C's send a late double, which leaves Garland open for a deep three. So Tatum comes back down and goes after Mobley again this time, the crossover to size him up, and it's another one of those pull-up middies. To start the second half, it was more of the same. This time it's Jaylen Brown going after Darius Garland, but Max Strus slightly overhelps here, which collapses all the dominoes. He swings it over to Hauser, who attacks the smallest amount of space and finds Derek White for a corner three. The next play down, he goes after Garland again, but he's too small to provide any resistance on both his initial shot and the putback opportunity, and the Celtics lead balloons up to 17 again. But as we've already seen, the Cavs offense is too good to keep them down. Garland attacks Sam Hauser again, but finds the rolling Strus open, and he finds Jarrett Allen for the lob. The next play down in transition, Garland finds Hauser again and says, "Can I have this dance?" The hesitation move freezes him out of his shoes, and it's a left-handed floater to finish.
Give that guy a map. Where are you going?
After a 9-0 run, Tatum decided to get back in on the action, going after Jarrett Allen again, and this wicked left-to-right crossover buckles him as he gets all the way to the cup on the Cleveland big. Of course, what makes Tatum such a great player is his two-way ability. So of course he makes this ridiculous help side block, brings the ball down court, and watch this filthy combo of dribble moves. A left to right crossover, an in and out crossover just to absorb two defenders and finish with his left hand. Absolutely unreal.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
A minute later, he gets another switch onto Jarrett Allen, and again, there's that left to right crossover, but this time he goes into a bump fade, and you can add another one to Tatum's midi counter on the day. With the Celtics building an 11-point lead, the Cavs turn to Donovan Mitchell again for offense. He starts his mini run with a pull-up three in Tatum's face, but then his next possession down, he fakes like he wants to attack Cornette in an ISO, but then freezes Horford with a wicked crossover, and nice floater in the paint cuts the lead down to 5. After another stop, the Cavs get back to doing what they do best, which is transition offense. No one picks up Donovan Mitchell, and he drains another three to cut it to 3, and that's an 8-0 run by himself. Woo! After a Cavs and D-Mitch run, Tatum decides to return the favor. He goes after Sam Merrill again here, and a spin move gets past him, and it's another insane contact finish at the rim. In the fourth quarter, with the game within one score, Evan Mobley would end up coming alive by hunting smaller defenders down low. Boston was more than comfortable conceding all switches, which only made it easy for Cleveland to have the space they needed for Mobley to go to work down low. After a couple of stops, Mobley stepped into his second three of the game, giving the Cavs their first lead of the game, and they never looked back. A big reason why they were able to come back and keep this lead was the crucial defensive stops they made down the stretch. Ty Jerome gets dropped by Jaylen Brown here, but the entire Cavs defense is on a string and fills in the gaps. Merrill closes out to Brown, which allows for Jerome to recover to his man, and the entire possession is saved for Cleveland. One under-discussed aspect of why the Cavs were able to make this comeback is the impact Evan Mobley had on the offensive glass in the fourth quarter. He had countless offensive rebounds. Watch how he skies over Luke Cornette for his first one, and then a few seconds later, how he outmuscles both Jaylen Brown and Derek White for the second rebound. The Cavs deliberately sent shooters from the corner and wing to crash the glass for this reason, and it kind of paid off. The Cavs had 7 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter and 6 points from Mobley off the glass. In the fourth quarter, clinging to a 1-point lead, the Cavs went to Donovan Mitchell again, who attacks Sam Hauser yet again, and it's another floater inside the paint. But when the Celtics came back down, they're looking to get Tatum matched up with Ty Jerome. Isaac Okoro is so preoccupied with preventing this entry pass that he leaves Jaylen Brown open for just a second, and that's all it takes to tie the game. So, with the game on the line, it's Mitchell's turn to attack, you guessed it, Sam Hauser again. A wicked snatchback three while Hauser's momentum is going backwards gives Mitchell enough space to drain this huge go-ahead three. Next time down, they decide to pull Al Horford out of the paint, which leaves Evan Mobley on Hauser, who has to rotate over to stop Donovan Mitchell's drive, and Mobley gets another easy putback to put the Cavaliers up 5. With the Celtics needing a bucket, they go back to the reliable Jason Tatum, and he goes after Darius Garland. After a missed shot, however, him and Brown are able to get the second chance score because they're matched up with much smaller players. A made free throw from the Cavs gives Boston another chance to cut into the lead, and Jaylen Brown goes after Garland again here, lowering the shoulder to create some space, and he gets a layup to cut the lead to 2. After another stop, the Celtics go to Brown again, bringing Garland into the action yet again, and this time Brown just shoots over the smaller DG, and we are tied. Woo! Of course, the Cavs needing a score, they turn to their reliable Donovan Mitchell, who bails out a pretty empty possession with a difficult floater over the contesting Brown. And when the Celtics bring the ball down the floor, they're trying to get Brown switched onto Garland again, but this time the Cavs throw in a wrinkle. Dean Wade holds his ground and forces a late stunt at the ball to prevent the C's from getting the switch, and instead Brown has to fall back on attacking Wade. Dean moves his feet well, and the Cavs get the stop they were looking for. Of course, now the Cavs bring the ball down court, and with Mitchell matched up with Tatum, they decide the better option is to go after, you guessed it, Sam Hauser again. They get the empty side ISO that they wanted. Mitchell's in and out dribble freezes him, and he gets a huge and one layup to put the Cavs up by 5. Did I mention this game was a classic? With a minute remaining, clinging to a 5-point lead, Darius Garland gets his turn against Sam Hauser, sauces him with a wicked step-back midi to give the Cavs a decisive 7-point lead, completing the improbable 22 and 17-point comebacks in one game. This game was a demonstration of offensive strategy and mastery, and while the Celtics were missing Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, this game was still an exciting playoff preview. Tatum and Mitchell and Brown were absolutely masterful, and if this is an indication of what's to come, then I can't wait to see these two teams duke it out in a 7-game playoff series down the road. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the comments, let me know which team you think will come out of the Eastern Conference this year. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.